Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. So Wesak 2025 will be celebrated next Sunday. And around this time, we should be concluding Wesak because it's going to be from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The registration for the Wesak is on the website. And the theme this year is to pray for the world. The world is changing rapidly. There is all kind of insecurities and sense of being unsafe and unstable that is happening around the world that are agitating and causing all kinds of panics and all kinds of situation to cause us to be on edge. In preparation for Wesak, I want to start talking about some of the ideas we're going to be covering. And also to all of you who have registered, you have received prayers. I want to talk about some of these prayers. I want to talk about what we're going to be doing for the day to kind of get you ready and prepared for this great event. First of all, what is Wesak? Wesak is actually the geometric center of the crown chakra of the planet. It is in Tibet, in the Mount Kahilis, in the Wesak Valley. It's a small kind of gray sandy gorge that has a flat rock at the entrance of it, which serves as an altar when once a year all the lamas and the Buddhist monk make a pilgrimage to that location to celebrate. Some people who do this pilgrimage do it on foot, and they actually prostrate themselves all the way through. Okay, as they are walking and climbing the height and the altitude and hanging prayer flags. This is done as a way to remove our shame, because every Wesak celebration is a welcoming of a very high energy. Because once a year at the full moon in Taurus. Now the full moon is going to be on the 12th, the Monday, and since everybody has to go to work, we're going to celebrate the Wesak on the Sunday, which is the 11th. So every time at that full moon in Taurus, light descend from God into that geometric center or axis mundi, which is the axis of the world. It's the celestial axis. It descends in that location and it spreads with new dispensation, latest change and transformation and message from God and the spiritual hierarchy, travels to the ley line of the planet, move all across the globe, and then lands in, if you're gathered anywhere around the world collectively and you're receptive to the energy, you're going to get not the exact same transmission, but in idea and in concept, you're going to get channelers who will receive similar transmission. The message will be the same. I have witnessed this personally. I've been at Wesak where I've heard people channel, and I've read messages and actual communication and transmission from people from other Wesak around the world. Basically, the messages were the same. Not exact words, but the ideas and the concept were similar. Truth is truth, and the lens and the filter through which we interpret it and we see it may differ from location to location because of our own lens and filter, but the idea and the concept will end up being the same. Wesak is not just, it's an opportunity to serve. So there will be, I will not be the only channel or speaker. There will be a panel. There will be also a musician who will offer, do musical offerings, spiritual stuff that they're going to present. And all of it will be themed around the idea of us praying for the mercy of God toward what's happening around the world. The changes that are happening are actually the acceleration of planetary karma, causing fast tracking of our own karma and that of the whole planet. And therefore, it's may become uncomfortable when karma is moving too fast and we don't have enough time to process the lessons that are being presented to us. And we are not clear and visible with the actual healing that's supposed to happen, because karma is not punishment. It's not being a victim. It's actually, it translates from Sanskrit as to make or to do. And in Hebrew, it's tikkun, which translates as repair or correction. So it's what we need to do to correct. It's an active thing. And if you're wise, you welcome the opportunities that are presented to you to remove toxic relationship, toxic feelings, and all these things that were negative that happened in the past. You remove them, you heal them, and you move forward. And once the removal is done, karma does not, okay, the best way I can say it is that once the repair is done, the correction is made, what's going to happen is that the similar situation, for the universe to verify that you've learned it, similar situation. Let's say, for example, it's a type of man that you're attracted to and that relationship ended. You think you learn your karma with that person, blah, blah, blah. But you're going to be presented with at least two more opportunities, or two more people that have similar frequencies and vibration, for the universe to verify that you've learned the lesson. Okay? And if you, on both instances, you walk away and you resolve it in an amicable, you made the correct correction, then that situation will never have to present itself to you again. And because of this, I want to explain that it's kind of like complicated as well. I mean, individually, this is the way karma works. But a lot of time, the karma that's being presented is so big and so ancient that they are actually coming not from things that happen in this lifetime, but in the past lifetime, it might, and also to the group body that we belong to. For example, our family or ancestral lineage. If the same mistakes have been repeated by our ancestors over and over again, or the same shame, the same undeservedness, the same perception of victimization, the same perception of being unsafe, the same perception, you put the adjective in there, is being presented to you over and over again, then you will end up having the karma through the bloodline or through the ancestors. And it doesn't have to be bloodline. It could be other group body you belong to. Like, for example, your an office karma, something related to the culture of your office or where you were working at. Something connected to the fact that you're a male or a female. Something connected to the fact that you're a human being. So there is quite a bit of stuff right now, because as the galactic equator crossing is approaching, probably 2030 or beyond, 5 years from now, things are getting accelerated. Things are moving extremely fast. Okay? And because they are moving fast, we are forced to reckon and resolve and correct what needs to be corrected quickly. Otherwise, we will not be able to align ourselves correctly at the time of the galactic equator crossing to allow us to diverge or move through the higher dimensional gate and go to the new earth. We have to become as light and as clean as possible in front of the throne room of God. This is extremely important for us to understand. So at this moment, aside from your meditation practice, you should be also praying. You should ask God for mercy. You should, and we're going to talk in a second about the various type of prayers, but you should ask God for mercy. You should really asking for all kinds of situation in which protection and healing can come to you. And so, and to many of us, particularly those of us in the light community, we may not be devotionally focused. Some of us are more self-development, accountability focused. This is what I need to do to change this. I need to transform this. And we give ourselves tasks, and we are very task-oriented. I have to do this, repair that, do this, and so on and so forth. But equally important, we need to also pray. Why are we praying? Because some of the stuff that we need to move, the clarity, for example, when you have an ancestral thing that's been there for 5 generations or 10 generations, it is extremely complex for you to try to dissociate or disconnect yourself to that complex, and particularly the strength of the group body that's pulling you toward making a similar, the continuation of the same situation. So for you to do this, you need to ask for help. And the help that we can ask is directly from the karmic board. We can ask the Lord and the ladies of karma, which are the divine director, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, Lady Portia, Lady Nada, Lady Justice, and Elohim Cyclopia. And those 8-member, that 8-member body can help negotiate a way out of the situation, to unravel it into a peaceful and a correct resolution, to allow you to disconnect to what needs to be disconnected and to bring you in connection to the repair that is needed, so that your connection to your lineage or your good body or your own internal processes are no longer toxic, so that you can become lighter. And the toxicities are usually created by survival mechanism, meaning you're presented with a situation that was so toxic for you at such a young age that the only way for you to actually figure out to overcome this is to create a bypass, an emotional bypass, meaning by that it's not a healthy, aligned way to perceive yourself. Although you're being fractured by a trauma of some kind, you then rationalize the trauma in a way, or either by numbing yourself from the situation to emotionally dissociate or disconnect, or you numb some part of you, or you fracture your own self and you dislodge where the trauma happened and you hide it. There are lots of things that we do like this on a subconscious level to survive. And if you do this long enough, even after you become an adult and you realize what I'm doing is toxic, I need to change this, you can't do it, because you don't have the skill set to stop what has been happening for 30, 40 years in your life. You don't have the skill set anymore to figure out how to stop it. And this is where you have to pray to a higher power and ask that higher power to come in and help you with the resolution of that karma, the resolution of that false belief. And the way the false beliefs and the way the correction for all karma happens, you have to ask for forgiveness. It's the whole Ho'oponopono. You have to ask for forgiveness. It's true forgiveness that all of that is resolved. You have to say to the person that you have the karmic relationship with, or the institution, if me, my family, or my ancestors had hurt you, your family or your ancestors, since the beginning of creation until now, please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. And you release all of the toxicity. I replace all of the harm that I ever done to you from past lives by asking for your forgiveness and replace it with unconditional love. And if you really mean it with every part of your being, and you keep repeating it over and over again, the karma will dissolve itself. The toxicity will unknot, and the string will and the karma will be cut. So we need to be very aware of this. And the prayer that you're addressing the prayer to your higher power, asking your higher power for mercy, asking your higher power for a way out, asking your higher power to give you a higher understanding so that it can give you the clarity to see. Because a lot of time, the Honopono keep asking all the time, please forgive me, I love you, and I'll let go. But sometimes you don't, although I'm repeating over and over again, and I know I have a toxic energy between me and this other person, but I don't understand the offense that I committed. And because I don't understand it, I can't figure out what to do. I can't figure out, if I don't understand the offense, I don't understand what I'm asking for forgiveness for. So often it helps to have a past life regression. If you're intuitive enough and you focus on the person, sometime in meditation you will see it, or you book a session with somebody like me to do a regression so that you will see it. And the moment you have that, when you do the Ho'oponopono the next time around, you know you're 50%. You know what you did in that past life that was offensive. And when you are doing the Ho'oponopono toward the person in this lifetime now reincarnated, please forgive me if me, my family, or my ancestors have hurt you since the beginning of creation until now, by thoughts, by deeds, by words, by action, by inaction. Please forgive me. And at that point, you think of the offense that you had committed in that past life. You're not that person anymore, but you need to think of the situation. Please forgive me. I love you unconditionally, and I let go. And the moment you do this, it begins to unravel. It begins to be released. And if you do this, every time you think of the person or the situation, over time, all of it will be released. All of it will fade away.
Where can I ask a question?
Yes.
Thank you for bringing this up. How did you know that was exactly what I wanted to figure out? I had located a karmic tie with someone and went back through the regression, past life regression that you'd done years ago. I remembered the process, identified the situation, my 50%, and did the Ho'oponopono repeatedly. My question is, how will you know when that has dissolved the issue, and how long do you do it otherwise?
You will get to a point when you think of the person, it will feel like thin air.
Yes, I thought that might be the way, but would it be the person in the incarnation today or in the past life?
No. You yourself, when you think of the person in this lifetime now,
Okay,
when you
got
think of the situation,
it.
it's going to feel like it's paper thin. When that
Perfect.
happens, it's done.
Thank you. Got it.
Okay? Because if it still feels toxic like that, there's a knot energetically still charged, you're not done.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. So, so that's what we need to work on personally. Now it gets more complex when you add an entire community. Let's say the karma is not between you and somebody else; it's between you and an entire village, or you and an institution, and you and a whole nation, you and the whole planet, and you and nature forces, and you and so when that happens, it becomes much more complex. And this is where the karmic board comes in. This is when you pray to the karmic board, and it has to be a heartfelt prayer. You call the karmic board, ask them for help. Again, the divine director is a cosmic being. He's not even from this universe. He's a cosmic being. And he oversees the fair and equitable administration of the laws of karma. Mother Mary is the mother of mercy. Lady Kuan Yin is she who hears the suffering of the world. Lady Portia, Pallas Athena is the goddess of truth. Lady Portia is she was medieval advocate for justice and female ascended master. Lady Nada is a self-effacing female ascended master. Lady Justice is the blindness of justice. And the final word, she holds a sword and the scale in her hand. It's the final word. And finally, Cyclopia, Elohim Cyclopia. Elohim created the substructure through which karma is administered. So when the Elohim Cyclopia, and collectively they hold different facets of the same idea, the fair and equitable administration of the laws of karma. So if there is a situation that presents itself, this is the way to solve it. They are able to come in and help solve the problem. It's important for us to know that these tools are there, and that in the event that you need it, you need to pray and administer it. Sometimes you don't call it the Lord and Lady of Karma. Sometimes it's God directly that you pray through. Sometimes it's Master Dwakul with the personal power and the core field metrics removable programming. Sometimes it's Archangel Michael. Depending on the situation, you will know what being that you're supposed to call and invoke, and then you will pray. But when it's planetary, we have 8 billion people on Earth, and many of us, human beings, have acted incorrectly toward the planet and toward each other. We have exchanged incorrectly. We have exchanged so toxically to each other that it creates a situation that's really terrible, and we have to figure out a way to administer, to allow collectively. And here's the thing with the group body, and this is what I want to bring up. This is extremely important as it leads to Wesak and the work that we're going to be doing. When it's something that big, we are not asking any of you who are going to be at Wesak or praying to sacrifice yourself by taking the karma of the planet on you. Take one for the team. This is a toxic and incorrect perception of what God is asking us to do. God is not asking you to do any of this. It is absolutely incorrect to ascertain something like this. Okay? Rather, God is asking for something else. What we need to do is ask for mercy. Things that has not happened anymore, but that has a propensity of precipitating, that are in the future horizon and have a propensity to about to fall. And typically speaking, in the future horizon, it's more than one thing that you see. You see multiple things. Okay, there are multiple possibilities. A possibility could be A, B, C, D, E, F. And as of all the possibilities, one or two of them may land. How they land depend on us asking for mercy for the landing to soften. What's going to happen between now and 2030? None of us can change. So get that out of your head that you're going to have to do something, ceremony or ritual or whatever to stop things from happening. You can't. It's bigger than all of us. What we can do collectively as spiritual beings is to ask the Lord and the ladies of karma, to ask God and ask the spiritual hierarchy for mercy. Ask them for all kinds of ways to forgive humanity and to be merciful to us as we realize the errors as we make the correction. And the way you do this, each one of us who are going to be at Wesak will make the correction in us personally. You have to make, you belong to the good body of humanity. You cannot learn for the rest of humanity nor try to absorb the mistake, because none of us would survive this. What we do is that we correct in us, and we take a higher road, and we ask for forgiveness for our co-creation in the collective toxicity. And we resolve the karma by asking for the forgiveness in us. Once we have learned this and we are corrected, that broadcast that each one of us has learned now, which is the non-toxic way of perceiving ourselves, that broadcast will be transmitted to the rest of the group body. And the group body and at the same token will be also enhanced by the spiritual hierarchy and the forces that you would have invoked to ask them to support you in the healing of the planet. And by you doing this, all of a sudden it's going to spread out, and the rest of the group body will osmosis and train into a healing and a repair for that karma. And the landing will end up being softer rather than a harsh landing. It will be a slow decline, a soft landing, and it will be better for the rest of us and the planet. And the lesson and the tikkun and the repair will be done in a softer way. So again, we are not self-sacrificing. We are not praying to take the burden of others. We're not doing anything of that kind. We are healing ourselves, and as we heal ourselves, we're going to heal the world. It's important. Yes, go ahead, Janice.
Sorry for interrupting. I had a aha moment, a revelation, and I don't know why I never thought about it before. As we thought about the storm systems having a consciousness that we could connect with, for some reason, I never thought about the earth being a consciousness. I know we had Gaia as the logos for the earth, right? But what I never thought about is that all of the planetary bodies are consciousness. The solar system that we are, the Milky Way galaxy is a consciousness.
Yeah,
That,
absolutely.
that just, I don't know, blew my mind. I was ashamed I never thought about in that way, much as we think about beings, animal, plant, whatever, having consciousness, but the earth itself being a consciousness,
Yeah,
and therefore being worthy of treatment as such, I think presented to me a whole different perspective of respect.
absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, this is a great segue for me. I'm going to present to you, all of you who sign up for Wesak receive this, which is the program, but the program at its beginning has an introductory prayer. So I will read that very shortly. It's not long, but I will read it very quickly. I call forth Lady Gaia. It's called a prayer to Gaia and the nature spirit. I call forth Lady Gaia, planet Earth, all Earth Elohims, Master Devas, General Devas, Sub-Devas, nature spirits, and lesser builders. I call forth the Earth Elemental Elohim, the Gnome, Master Devas, General Devas, Sub-Devas, and Earth Elemental spirits and lesser builders. If I, my family, and ancestors had hurt you and your ancestors from the beginning of creation until now, by thoughts, by deeds, by words, by actions and inactions, please forgive me. I love you and I let go. I ask for your forgiveness for all past abuses. And as you move to correct and repair our mistakes, please forgive us for the offenses and the multiple instances of short-sightedness and disconnection to the Great Mother. I call forth the Earth Elemental Elohim, the Self, Master Devas, General Devas, Sub-Devas, all air elemental spirits and lesser builders. I become aware of the toxic gases that man has released into the atmosphere, causing you to have to rebalance the scale with windstorm, tornadoes, typhoon, hurricane. If I, my family, and ancestors had hurt you, and your ancestors from the beginning of creation until now, by thoughts, by deeds, by word, by actions, by inactions, please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. I call forth the fire elemental Elohim, the salamanders, master devas, general devas, sub-devas, and all fire elemental spirits and lesser builders. I become aware of all the wildfires that are scorching acres of land around the planet in your attempt to repair man's disruptive influence over the natural cycles of interdependent relationship that have been maintaining life on Earth for millions of years. If I, my family, and ancestors had hurt you, your ancestors, from the beginning of creation until now, by thoughts, by deeds, by word, by action, by inaction, please forgive me. I love you and I let go. I call forth the water Elohim, the undying, master devas, general devas, sub-devas, and water elemental spirits and lesser builders. I become aware of the flood, the drought, the mudslide, directly connected with the actions or inaction of humanity. I ask for your forgiveness if I, my family, and my ancestors had hurt you and your ancestors from the beginning of creation until now, by thoughts, by deeds, word, actions, inactions. Please forgive me. I love you and I let go. I now ask for a blending and merger with Lady Gaia, the super consciousness that's composed of everything that is alive on earth. Beloved Mother, forgive me for all presumptions of knowing. Forgive me for projecting my hubris and negative ego against your role, purpose, and agenda. I ask for your forgiveness for my blindness, short-sightedness, and disconnection to my own heart. I ask for a complete bending and merger with you. I surrender all personal agenda, and I rest my head and heart in your lap. Beloved Mother, teach me the way. I can serve you better. Whisper in my ears your messages. May your voice become audible to me. Help me find the courage to act on your behalf and put your desire and agenda first, with the understanding that your directives are supportive to me in all sentient life form. Tell me what you want me and motivate me to become a better steward and proxy for you and bring ascendance to the earth. Help me understand the cyclical and interdependent nature of your existence. Let my entire consciousness be renewed by this knowing. Show me how to help you correct the mistakes of humanity, and may I become a useful tool and co-creative partner in the manifestation of the future earth. Amen. So leading toward Wesak, if you were to repeat this prayer on a daily basis between now and next week, we have like 7 days, it would be of great use to put you in the right spirit, so that when we begin Wesak at 9 o'clock on next Sunday, and we do all the prayers and the introductory and all the welcome, you can begin to, your heart can be open and your ego can be put aside, because you have now asked all the earth Elohims and all the master devas, sub-devas, general devas, which are the earth angels, because they are angelic in nature. The lesser builders, they are all angelic in nature, but they are the ones that are creating everything around us in the physical realm. And they work tightly and closely because they are basically, they compose the body of Gaia. As Janice was saying, become aware that that super intelligence is actually Gaia, and she's alive, and she's completely conscious. And all the mistakes that we're making, the reason why the elemental forces are, one of the things that's happening around the world at this moment, I don't know if you're aware of this, there are two things that are of prominence right now. There are so many active volcanoes that are like all over the planet. Something like 80 of them are now completely active. And also, the more recent thing is the blackouts. And all of that is caused by the increase in the Schumann resonance. Weird atmospheric transformation that are taking place, that happened in Spain, Portugal, and then part of France, and now, as of yesterday, in Bali as well. And by the way, that kind of atmospheric thing, this is what's going to happen during the 3 days of darkness at the galactic equator crossing, and it will cause blackout around the world. It's dress rehearsal. What I can tell you, for me, the lesson I'm learning now, because I was in a blackout in New York about 25 years ago. A couple of lessons that I have learned, and seeing what's happening in Spain right now by reading article and hearing from the news, you need to have a small portable. I have one here, but I need to get a new one. It's a small portable solar panel. There's a solar thing that can charge your phone, okay? The one that I have now has a USB port, but they are the old USB port. Most phones now have the Type-C, the mini. I need one that has the mini. This one I can't use anymore because my phone will not even plug into it. The reason you charge your phone, you don't realize this, all your contacts on your phone. And during the time of the blackout in New York, I spent 5 hours per day lining up and queuing up in front of the Starbucks outside, because I had to walk to where there was no blackout, and I had to queue like behind everyone else, and everyone else was trying to charge in the fuel outlet that was in the Starbucks. And you have to wait for them to complete the hour and a half it takes, and then next person would come in. And that would take me about 5 hours per day. So that's a big deal, because your entire contact, unless it will be anything that's digital will be out, because when there's no power, it will not work. Your phone, even though it may be charged, when you go into a blackout area, the towers have battery backup, but the battery backup is for only 24 hours. So after 24 hours, you're in a blackout zone. You won't be able to make a phone call. If you have an old-fashioned analog phone, not digital, it will continue to work. It's going to sound a little bit funny, but you will still be able to make a phone call. And the other thing as well is that all ATM will cease to work, because we are now we are no longer a cash society. Everything works with a card. So if there is no power, if you don't have cash in hand, you won't be able to purchase anything. If you could find a store that has any item that you want. Of course, refrigerator, if you have a house where you can get a bigger backup generator. They have make sure you get one that's solar, that's 1,000 watt or something, where you can plug your refrigerator. You'll be able to save your food. Okay, but at a minimum, because I'm in an apartment, that little device is extremely important because by having it, you will be able to you will save yourself 5 hours per day of going past the blackout zone to try to charge your phone so that you can make during the day a few phone calls.
Yeah, I just wondered if I could put in your mind a thought to research a converter to translate from the
That's
USB.
exactly what I was going to say. Adapter.
Yes, yes.
There's
Oh, to
usually
convert.
adapters.
Oh, to
Yeah, yeah,
convert. To
yeah,
convert. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yeah, yeah. I probably get it at Best Buy. Yes, yes, yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
yes, 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 yes. You're right. You're right. I can get it at Best Buy. Anyway, so because I bought this years ago. This is after the first blackout. That's the first thing I did. I bought it. Okay, and so yes, it's a good idea. Um, I want to mention this to you because what I'm not doing now. When the blackout happened, I look at my wallet. I had $60. I should have $500 in an envelope here, hiding somewhere, or some a stash of cash somewhere. Because in the event something happened, you want to make sure that you have some fiat currency in your hand that you can actually use in the event that you need to get something. Because the cards are not going to work because all ATM are going to be without power. You won't be able to get any money. So I wanted to mention that to you as a way to kind of like prepare you because I'm looking at what's happening and I'm saying to God, thank you and Gaia and the whole planet, thank you for giving us these dress rehearsals so that I understand now what I need to do to prepare in the event that, situation like this will present itself tomorrow. At least I'll have these things in place and I'll be able to, to charge my phone and I'd be able to get some groceries for a few days. It took 5 days when we had the last blackout for power to return to my block. 5 days. We're without power for 5 days. It was
Yeah,
very
some people
interesting.
in Europe couldn't buy food because they didn't have cash with them.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I'm saying because we're cashless. In the past, that was never a problem. Everybody had a few $100s
everybody
in
had
their
cash.
pocket. Yes, yes, but now we're a cashless business, society.
Yeah,
That's
I don't have either. I should get a
Yeah.
stash.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
also thinking though that in the stores, the cash registers are electronic as well. We wouldn't be able to open them, would they?
Well, in some instances, the people created a bypass. They were still able to open it and all that in some instances.
Oh,
But
okay.
if you don't have the cash money, you can't open it. Everybody's Apple Pay, it's like Google Pay, everybody's doing this. It's PayPal, it's Venmo, it's including me, because this is where we're being pushed into.
Yeah.
So because of this, you're going to end up being, and so part of it is like I'm witnessing what's happening around the world. I'm like, okay, I know the channeling, I know what's going to happen. So if the whole planet is like this, we're gonna, you won't be able, even if you're trying to barter something. Let's say you're upstate somewhere and you go to a farm, you still have to give them cash. You can't show them, I have a card that has credit in it. There is no record of it. It doesn't show up because there's no power. Here's my phone. I have Apple Pay. I can pay you. It won't scan. Nothing will show up because there's no power. So be aware of this and keep a small stash. Doesn't have to be a lot of money, but enough to help you for a couple of days. So that if in the event you need to buy something, you'll be able to do it. Now, I wanted to read you that prayer because I wanted to it went along the line what Janice was saying, that the planet is sentient. And in fact, all the other planets, you have to remember also that Celidia, for example, in our community upstate, she and Tessatama believe that they all descended from the sun. Their soul, when they transit and ascend, they go to the sun. So, and in fact, Helios and Vesta, or the consort, the twin spirit, that are the emperor and the empress of the sun. And Tessatahoma was the incarnation of Vesta when she was living here on Earth. So you're right, Celia, in saying that all the planets are completely alive, they're completely conscious, and everything is alive, as a matter of fact. And therefore, we should acknowledge and respect the contribution, and not pollute, destroy, and use our ego to bypass the desires and the wants by not listening, by not being in our heart, by not listening with our own entire heart open to allow the messages and the voices of Gaia and the Gaia's intention to connect to us. Now, native people, for years, because they are more earth connected, have been doing this. They are connected to their heart and the water as well. This is why native people, every time there is a pipeline that's trying to go through their water system, they protest. They don't care if they get arrested. They are there to protect the water. And they are the earth Elohim, the Undyne, the water spirits, are happy and connected to them. Any questions or any comments? So what I want to do now is that let's talk a little bit more about how to pray. Because a lot of time we think we're doing it correctly. And there are some basic foundational step that needs to happen for an effective prayer to occur. You can think of a prayer as you addressing or writing a letter to God, or to Archangel Michael, to Mother Mary, to Kuan Yin, to Pallas Athena, or the comic board, Archangel Michael, whichever, it doesn't matter. And the way to pray is for you to call and invoke the specific entity that you have a spiritual connection to. If you saw the prayer that I just read you, we call forth and you name the name of these beings, right? Master Deva, the earth Elohim, or the water Elohim, the fire Elohim, the fire elemental, you name them, you invoke them. When you name something, when you call it, it shows up, it presents itself. And then you humbly beseech and request an audience or connection. In this instance, we call forth, if you realize the form of the prayer, we call forth the earth, the fire elemental Elohim, the salamanders, master devas, general devas, and sub-devas. So the earth Elohims, to explain this prayer, the earth Elohim are the engineers that creates the blueprint for the fire elemental. So we call for the fire elemental Elohim. The salamanders, the master devas, the general devas, the sub-devas, are actually lower form of angelic forces. Meaning by that, and I don't mean by lower form by saying they're like earth angels. So the master devas or higher than the general devas, and the sub-devas are below them. One can think of them as the contractors. If the Elohims or the architect and the engineers, the master devas, general devas, and sub-devas, and elemental spirits and lesser builders, or contractors, subcontractors, and that are dealing with anything that's fire related. And then after that, there is like an acknowledgement of their role by saying, I become aware of the wildfires that are scorching acres of land around the planet in your attempt to repair men's disruptive influence over the natural cycle of interdependent relationships that have maintained life on Earth for millions of years. So what you're acknowledging at this moment is that you're acknowledging that for millions of years, you had a very specific role that you're playing, and we're acknowledging your effort. We're acknowledging your existence. We're not taking it for granted that if I scratch a match, the match will show up. It is showing up and striking and lighting up by your power and by your will. We're acknowledging who you are and the role that you play. And then comes the prayer. If I, my family, and ancestors had hurt you and your ancestors from the beginning of creation until now, by thoughts, deeds, words, actions, inactions, please forgive me. I love you and I let go. Now you're asking for the karma to be repaired, that if me, my ancestors, and my family had done any of the above to offend you, to try to interfere with the proper functioning of the role that you're supposed to play, please forgive me. I love you unconditionally. And I let go. And you do the same thing for the water, the earth, and the air elemental, right? And in the end, you address now for blending and a merger with Lady Gaia, the four elements are all part of Lady Gaia's body. And all the beings, these angels, these Elohims, and Master Devas, Sub-Devas, General Devas, they're all part of the Lady Gaia's body. And we're going to ask now for Lady Gaia directly. So we went through first the forces that compose the four elements. Then we are now asking Lady Gaia for a blending, the super consciousness that compose of everything that is alive on earth. Beloved Mother, forgive me for all presumption of knowing. Forgive me for projecting my hubris and negative ego against your role, purpose, and agenda. I ask for your forgiveness for my blindness, short-sightedness, and disconnection to my own heart. So now you're acknowledging, I have not been consciously aware of who you are and the role that you're playing. And in fact, I've been disconnected to my own heart. I've been blind. I've not seen you.
Mhm.
Yes.
It struck me again anew, perhaps for a deeper revelation of what we're dealing with. Karma on an individual basis with the consciousness of Earth, of Gaia, personal, ancestral. Can imagine having a past life with Gaia or with the Earth, but it sounds like that's in the realm of what we're dealing with karmic entanglements from past lives, right? Would it be possible that we were in a past life with Gaia?
Yes, Gaia. Okay, Gaia is according to the Greek, is a Titan. It's one of the primordial forces. But in the Gnostic teaching, Gaia is a form of Sophia. Sophia and Christos were eons in the center of our galaxy that created Anthropos, and Anthropos is the archetypical man. And Sophia left Christos behind and followed Anthropos as Anthropos was released because she was very curious. She loved her creation and she followed him. And as she moved away from the center of the Milky Way galaxy, she fell. And in the process, all kinds of things happened to her. She began to transform. And she wanted to create an environment in which Anthropos could incarnate. And she became eventually Gaia. So Gaia is, in the higher aspect of Gaia is Sophia. So Sophia and Gaia created us. We are Anthropos. We are the body, we are the archetypical men and women was created by her and her consort. So we definitely have direct connection to her. She descended and became more or less active, and she was no longer the creatrix that she was. She became less active and less passive, but she manifested all these elemental, she created a whole structure, and she became Gaia. In Hinduism, she is Shakti. She's Mother Earth. She's the earth energy, like the ascending and rising energy. And what Shakti is waiting for is in the Gnostic teaching, is Christos. In the Indian tradition, it's Shiva. She's waiting for Shiva to descend as she rises. And it's the energy of both of them crisscrossing each other and crossing each other like a snake. And every time there's a cross, there's a chakra, there's a wheel that gets created. So in us, there's the 7th chakra, and then in the 4th dimensional body, another 7, and the 5th, another 7, all the way back to God. But it's the same 2 fundamental forces. We are not disconnected to. So Gaia has the actual physicality of the earth, but that physicality, that earth energy, is actually the body of Christos and of Sophia. So the body of Sophia. But Sophia, Christos is not here now. Christos is descending while Gaia is rising.
It's a fascinating concept also, as we're talking about karma collectively with the earth, most likely, as well as individually, and in our past lives, possibly on the earth. Would it be possible that Gaia, Earth, has 50% of the karma with us?
I'm sorry, say that again.
So when we're dealing with karma, we want to know our 50%.
Yes.
The party with whom we share that karmic
Yes.
has the other 50%. Is it, or whatever the percentage is, but is it possible that the earth bears, or Gaia or Sophia bears a percentage of that karmic entanglement as well?
Yes, Sophia made a couple of mistakes. She moved away from the core in the center of the Milky Way galaxy without her consort. Initially, when she realized she passed that threshold and she made that mistake, she didn't intentionally mean to make the mistake. She was just curious. And she followed Anthropos as Anthropos was being released into space. And when she realized this, it was already too late. She tried, initially the sun was not ignited. The sun was just a big gas giant. She tried to ignite it, but she didn't have a consort, she couldn't do it. Therefore, Helios and Vesta, another pair of Eon, saw this and they ignite the sun for her. And then she moved and begun to create an accretion disk to manifest the earth as a vessel or as an environment, a stage in which Anthropos that she had followed can enter. Because she knew that once Anthropos, which was still archetypical energy, once it takes form, physical form, and send that physicality is now her, she and Anthropos will become one, because we're holding Sophia in us, the part of it that's physical. Sophia is in us, Gaia is in us. And when we ascend and we become light body, it's because Christos, or the Christ energy, or Shiva, has descended on us to enlighten us. And we will rise the small portion of Gaia that we hold in our physicality. We will elevate it back and take it back into light. And when 8 billion will have done this, a lot of part of Gaia will ascend.
Wow. And then we hold part of the stars in us as well, don't we?
Right.
So we are blended beings. And in the more recent eons of time, with all of the Earth activity that is destructive, let us say, for humanity's sake, and having caused death and destruction for humanity, does that count as a karmic entanglement of the earth toward mankind?
The earth is not making a mistake.
It's just trying to correct itself.
It's just trying to rebalance itself.
Right, right. And
it's humanity, it's men that's making the mistake, because man is disconnected to their heart. The native people are not making mistakes. They defend what's right. They know they're doing it right.
Right, right. So it's a knee-jerk kind of reaction, if you could call it as simplistic as that, as the earth has been harmed terribly by humanity, by mankind abuses. And so
when you see, for example, an explosion happen and lava falls in, and or the drought, or people will die, Gaia is not killing people. There's no karma connected to this.
okay.
Gaia is not making a mistake. Gaia is trying to rebalance. If anything, it's humanity that has to remember that you don't play with these forces. We are disconnected to them. Because if we were connected, we would have known better to never have done what we're doing now. Like, I was sitting in the waterfront today, I was looking at the sky, and all these chemtrails were going around.
Oh.
We're putting poison in the atmosphere all the time, and we're still doing it. And you wonder why the hurricanes, and why the air elementals, Elohim's elemental spirit is striking with these gigantic storms and twisters. It's trying to disperse the poison.
Another interesting thought, if I just take another minute, as we talk about the macrocosm and the microcosm being identical in structure or in form, much as our bodies, comparing our bodies to Mother Earth, and the cellular level, microbiology speaking, if we abuse our bodies, their bodies will react in such a way to make us sick. And it is not a karmic problem that our organs and cells are creating that create that illness, right? It's like Earth in the response to the abuse, perhaps causing pain and suffering for mankind, but it's not karmic.
Yeah. The fact that the polar caps and the ice caps are melting, it's not Gaia causing karma.
No.
It's us. We are heating up the planet by burning all these stuff and fossil fuel, and it's warming up. We're releasing too much carbon. We've known this scientifically. People have been saying this for years. I remember Al Gore with this movie many years ago in the 80s, An Inconvenient Truth. Everything he said in there was true. And it's happening right now.
What is happening? What is causing the magnetic north to shift. Is that another case of correction from
It's
abuse?
still, yes, it's still correction. It's still correction.
Oh, okay.
And by the way, the magnetic north flipping and all that, these are connected to cycles of things.
Mm.
They're smaller cycle, they're bigger cycle. They're 10,000 years, they're 6,000 year cycle, they're 31 million year cycle. There's even for the Milky Way to go around the core of even for the sun and our solar system to go around the entire galaxy, that's 250 million years. There's a lot of these things are cyclical, like the cycle of the sun for magnetic reversal is 11 years. There are other cycles that are much longer, that take millions and thousands of years to happen. There have been multiple and it's not, I know what scientists are saying, it's 1,000 years. It's not 1,000 years. It's going to happen imminently. And the evidence are there. Because right now, the reason why, for example, these 3 places on Earth right now had all these rolling blackouts, it's because the Schumann resonance, the Schumann resonance is measured in hertz. It is the energetic electrical differential that happened between the electrical charge in on the surface of the Earth and the upper atmosphere. Typically speaking, it was 8.7 something. I think 7.3 around. So, and it's, by the way, when you're doing EKG, that's the hertz that's measured in our head. We are linked to it. We're directly linked to it. Everything on Earth is linked to it. What has happened is that because of the sun and the sun is releasing all this plasma and all these charged particles that are coming and charging the upper atmosphere, but because of the magnetic north flipping and going toward the equator, toward the Atlantic, or the Pacific rather, what's happening right now is that the magnetosphere of the planet that was strong and would defend the normal, let's see, class solar flares are now being experienced almost like an X class, because the magnetic field of the planet, because of the eventual flip, has weakened. And what happened in this instance? It charged the Schumann resonance, which is 8 point something, for days leading to the blackout, was in the 40s, between 40 to 92. Electrical grids, and even scientists there in Europe, both in Spain and Portugal, are calling this strange atmospheric thing. It seems exotic. It's not exotic. The equipment to create power runs at 50 hertz. For 2 or 3 days, it was between 40 to 90 hertz. It overcharged it, like the same way it's called EMP, electrical magnetic pulse. Let's say you have an electrical equipment. If lightning strike is a block away, the electrical charge will travel to the air and will overcharge your equipment and short circuit it. This is what happened.
Well, Pierre, the magnitude of this entanglement with the Earth, with the consciousness of the Earth, is so big. I can imagine that on Wesak, we are going to be calling the karmic board to assist with the correction, the balancing. But I think to go back to what you started this class by saying is that our own responsibility is to make ourselves as clear and as clean as possible, in that way being a better vessel connected to the earth. Does that summarize what you said?
Yes, absolutely. And there are multiple ways to do it. You can repeat the prayer or do an intentional prayer. And the way you do the prayer is that you ask for forgiveness, you acknowledge your own weakness, your own co-creation, and then you put an intention here. And you say, going forward, I'm asking for mercy, I'm asking for forgiveness, and help me understand how I can serve. And then you release it. The problem with people addressing prayer to God, it's like writing your letter. You write the letter, and then you never fold the envelope, put a stamp on it, and put it in the mailbox. You have to release it. And when you release it to God, to whoever you're addressing, or in this instance, Gaia, when you release it, you have to release it with the intention and the clarity to say, I, with all my heart, I am in certainty that when I send this prayer intention to you, not only will you hear it, but you will respond with certainty. And then you fold the envelope and you let it go. You don't think about it again. The problem is that we say a prayer, we believe in the prayer, we release it, because in an hour we didn't hear anything, we didn't sense anything, we begin to rewrite the letter again. We fish it back from the post office box, we rewrite it again, and as long as you're rewriting the letter, the recipient cannot get it. So there is a part of prayer that has to do with surrender and trusting that the being that you're releasing this energy to, or you're addressing this to, will receive it and you will be heard. That's the important part. Another form of prayer as well, mantras. And there will be mantras at Wesak. Because the mantra, when you repeat them, every God or Elohim or Devi or Dakini has a mantras. And some of them have 1,008 mantra, and each mantra is part of their DNA. It's their DNA. And when you repeat the mantra correctly, the role and the purpose for which they were created. Let's say, for example, it's the earth Elohims, which are the fire elemental, or the earth elemental, or the air elemental, or the water elemental. As you're connecting to them and you're asking specifically for mercy, if you know the mantra and you repeat the mantra will create the connection for you.
You know, we are going through this birth canal process of leading up to the shift, the great crossing of the galactic equator, right? The central sun. What the Earth is going through the same process, truly, then as well. So a lot of what we're seeing environmentally is not necessarily humanity's abuse and inhumanity, so to speak, toward the Earth, but her own transformations that she's going through in this shift process.
Yes, that part is absolutely true, and also it's not personal. This is harsh for humanity to understand. Stop taking it personally. It's not personal. These forces are big and they're immense. And if there was an imbalance caused by collective action or inaction, when they're making the correction is going to seem harsh to us. But the correction is necessary to rebalance the scale of energies that will allow a redistribution of a release of the toxicity and a redistribution that's going to keep the scale balanced. And that's very scary, because all of us think, and this is the reason why we're praying. You have to understand something. Gaia and most of these higher forces don't see us. And the reason for this is because we are not praying and we are not connecting to our heart. And when you are not heart-centered, these forces, the natural forces, they only see you when you're connected to your heart. They see all the animals, but they can't see us, because we're so full of anger and rage and fear. They don't see us. We're not in their horizon. When we pray, this is what intercession is. We pray and and as we connect to these forces, we then remind the forces there are 8 billion people on Earth in this particular location. There, like when we're doing prayer for the hurricane, there's 60 million people on your path. could you do what you need to do without too much death and destruction or loss of property loss? And always when we do this kind of connection, you hear the forces eventually say, oh, there are people, they're completely unaware.
I like what you said. It's not personal, but it is our survival that is being perhaps challenged, you would say, with the environmental upheavals that are happening, right? So praying and establishing a connection with Gaia isn't praying to help somebody else disconnected from you. We are very much connected. And the impact of that, hopefully, the impact of our prayer and our clearing and trying to balance that karma will maybe be our own survival.
Correct. And I'll be honest with you. For me, I'm not even concerned about whether this person. Okay, I don't think Gaia. As long as I'm clear in my intention, my heart is clear, and I'm connected to the earth. The role I'm supposed to play as a shepherd is to take the burden of someone else and the rest of the planet, and let Gaia know that the burden is there, and the rest is up to spirit and the higher forces to do.
Okay, good thought. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not getting into the detail and trying to figure out who's doing what and parsing it out.
Yeah,
I'm not parsing anything out. I'm
yeah.
interceding by being in my heart, saying, I know you need to land this plane, but could you make this a soft landing? Because there are people on the plane. Make sense?
Oh, yes. Very important to know.
Any other questions or comments? All right, let us take a 5-minute break and then we'll do our closing meditation. 5 minutes. Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into our lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Let your mind and your heart sync with each other. And notice what you notice. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Listen. Listen as if the more than 50 trillion cells in your body had ears. become aware of any discomfort, tension, unease, that may exist in your body. What kind of information, insights, and knowing that it is trying to share with you. I release all attachments, fears, and control. And I surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I release all attachments, fears, and control. And I surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I release all attachments, fears, and control. And I surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. surrounded by chaos and fear, Lord, give me the clarity to find you. Disconnect me to the external narratives and details that are poisoning my mind. Give me the wisdom to understand that outside of events are a reflection of unresolved internal conflicts. Help me focus on the root cause of my disempowerment. Take from me self-judgment, flagellations, and accusation. Give me the intelligence to remember that all healing comes from you. I surrender my fears and vulnerabilities into you, for you are the benefactor and giver and redeemer. Ground in me your compassion, divine love, that I may become a vessel for your will and purpose on earth. Bless me with your divine grace, that I may receive your miraculous and instantaneous repair. Help me remember the truth. I am not alone. For you are the way, the truth, the light, and the path to redemption. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Take a very deep and slow breath. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you, Pierre. That was beautifully connecting. And there were, I don't know, I want to say a number, but many beings present.
Mm.
So I guess we
They're getting ready for Wesak.
got a lot of support.
Yes, they're getting ready for Wesak. That's great. Thank you for the confirmation. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank you all for listening tonight. Thank you all, family. Deep love. I look forward to seeing you at Wesak next week. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support on Patreon. Blessings, and I'll talk to you for this class in 2 weeks. Okay? Because next week it's Wesak, and the week after that we will meet. Thank you. Blessings.
Love
Good night,
you.
everyone.
Yeah, I have a question. Did I sign up for Wesak yet or not?
I think you did. If you
I
didn't,
did.
I will text you. Okay? I
Please
think
tell
you
me.
did.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Okay. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.